Women never forget the one who went silent. Modern Stoic. Silence is a source of great strength. Lao Tzu. Why is it that the man who says nothing often lingers in her thoughts long after the others fade into the background? It's not the one who begged for her attention, not the one who sent endless messages at midnight, not the one who argued endlessly, trying to convince her of his worth. Those men become noise, forgettable, transient. But the man who steps back in silence, who doesn't respond, defend, or react, that's the one who stays with her. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It holds power. It reflects. When you remain silent, you don't just remove your voice, you withdraw your validation, your presence, your energy. And that withdrawal shakes her reality. It unsettles her. Women are accustomed to men who fall apart when they leave. They're used to being pursued, to being chased. So when you don't chase, don't plead, don't react, it leaves her perplexed. She can't understand it. It scrambles her logic, bruises her ego. She'll tell herself you're just trying to appear unaffected, and wait, hoping you'll fold. But as silence stretches into days, weeks, and months, it brings a deeper fear, not of losing you, but of realizing she already has. The chance to turn back, to fix things, might be gone forever. And here's the kicker: you didn't do this to manipulate her. You simply walked away. No drama, no scene. You detached quietly, decisively, and completely. It wasn't a move. It wasn't a strategy. It was a shift in you. You stopped trying to be understood. You stopped seeking validation. That's the moment she recognized something different about you, not because of what you said, but because of the quiet you chose. If you're ready to let your absence speak louder than words ever could, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let silence be your voice. Number 1. Silence breaks the ego. Silence is a weapon. It breaks the ego like nothing else. You see, her ego expected to win. That's why she left with so much noise. That's why her words were sharp and her actions louder. She wanted to end things on her terms. She needed that last word, the final jab, the emotional upper hand. In her mind, your heartbreak was already written in the stars. All she had to do was wait for you to fall apart. She craved the angry messages, the desperate phone calls, the please just talk to me moments. That would have proven to her that she still had power, that she still mattered. It would have confirmed her dominance, a position she wasn't ready to relinquish. For most men, she gets exactly that. They react, they beg, they chase, they give her what she wants. But you're different. You didn't give her anything. Not a text, not a like, not even a shred of vulnerability. You went dark, cold, silent, and that silence, that's where the real impact lies. It isn't just a lack of words. It's a moment of reckoning. It shakes her because she's no longer in control. It forces her to question everything. Is he hurt? Is he indifferent? Did I make a mistake? That's when her ego starts to fold. And once those questions start swirling, they never stop. Did I misread him? Was I even important to him? Did I just walk away from the best thing I'll never have again? She's left alone with herself, stuck in the chaos of her own mind. The silence you created isn't just the absence of communication. It's a powerful force that highlights her uncertainty, her doubt. She begins to wonder if the breakup was a mistake, if she made the wrong choice. And as her ego crumbles, she's not just wrestling with the end of the relationship, she's wrestling with her own self-worth. You didn't need to humiliate her. You didn't need to argue, explain, or justify. You simply created space, a space that allowed her to face her own insecurities. It's in that space, that absence of your energy, that she begins to unravel. You didn't ghost her. You didn't ignore her out of spite. You were evolving. You were becoming the modern Stoic. You were guarding your energy, preserving your inner peace. And she didn't see it coming. She didn't expect this from you. That's what makes your silence unforgettable. It wasn't passive, it was deliberate, calculated, and incredibly powerful. And the longer she lives with the echo of that silence, the harder it hits. Words can sting, but silence is the true punishment. It's more than what is left unsaid. It's the calm before the storm. It's the blessing of Stoicism, a force that leaves an indelible mark on her, one she'll never forget. And you, the old Stoic, you know this. You understand the strength it takes to remain silent, to stand firm in your own power without saying a word. Silence isn't weakness, it's a statement, and it's a statement she won't soon recover from. Number 2, predictability kills respect. Let's face it, no woman is truly impressed by a man who can be read like an open book. Predictability, while cozy, can quickly become the silent killer of respect. You know the type, always available, always replying, always reactive. The problem is simple. When a man becomes predictable, he becomes boring. And when a man becomes boring, he becomes forgettable. You didn't lose her because you were lacking value. No, you lost her because she knew your next move before you did. You were stuck in a loop. You were a well-rehearsed script that she could recite without even having to read it. There was no mystery, no tension. The thrill was gone. Don't let her see all your moves. Women don't crave predictability. And this is where many men make a grave mistake. They think that consistent availability equals value, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What women crave is mystery. They thrive on unpredictability. That's what keeps them on their toes. When she knows that you'll text the moment she pulls away, when she knows that you'll call back after every argument, and that you'll forgive and explain and chase without hesitation, your value starts to erode. It's not that you're weak, far from it. It's that you've become too expected. And here's the hard truth. What's expected is never truly respected. The moment you break that cycle with silence, everything shifts. When you stop being the predictable man, you become something else entirely. You become interesting again. Women are wired to crave uncertainty. The moment you stop responding in the usual way, she'll start wondering, where do I stand? She'll second-guess the control she thought she had over you. And here's where it gets profound. Unpredictability reignites her curiosity. It's no longer you chasing her. It's her trying to catch a glimpse of you. And the dynamic changes. This is where Stoicism comes into play. A Stoic man understands that his worth is not measured by his availability or his reaction to others' whims. A Stoic man is grounded, not in a state of constant reaction, but in calm, steady power. By embracing Stoicism, you learn to let go of the need to chase validation. Instead, you let silence speak for you. It's not just about being quiet, it's about choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. That shift in behavior triggers an emotional response in her that you can't get by being predictably available. You must become the man who isn't always there when she expects you to be. Let her wonder, let her question. Watch how her intrigue turns to genuine curiosity. Women start to watch your every move. She checks your social media more than you check hers. She asks mutual friends about you, not because she misses the old version of you, but because she's struggling to figure out this new you, the unpredictable man, the Stoic man, the man who is no longer available at the drop of a hat. This is where Stoic lessons shine. Predictability is comfort food in relationships, but comfort doesn't breed attraction. It breeds complacency. Attraction needs excitement. It thrives in mystery. By choosing to stay silent, you disrupt the rhythm, and that disruption makes her question her understanding of you. She's no longer dealing with someone she can read, she's dealing with a puzzle, a mystery, and it becomes a challenge she can't ignore. So, you must stop being the man she expects. Shift from being her emotional safety net to a psychological challenge. This transformation won't happen overnight, but it will happen the moment you stop chasing and start being. Stop pandering to her emotions and start cultivating a Stoic life, where you are the center of your own universe and your value doesn't hinge on her approval. That is the true power, being in control of yourself, no matter what she does or doesn't do. And here's the kicker she'll never admit. The moment you became unpredictable, The moment you took a step back, the moment you stopped being her emotional crutch, that was the moment she started craving your attention again. So, don't forget this: predictability kills respect. Silence, unpredictability, and stoic strength. That's what brings the mystery and the attraction back. Stick with me, because this is just the beginning. We're moving forward with even more powerful tactics to leave a lasting impact on their minds. Get ready for the next move, one that deepens their connection to you in ways they can't ignore. If you are ready, comment "Let's go." Let's move forward. Number 3. Mystery fuels obsession. Mystery is an irresistible force. It grabs the human mind with a grip that's impossible to shake. When there are no answers, the brain can't stop trying to fill in the gaps, and that's where true power lies. Silence is the sharpest, most effective weapon in creating that mystery. Think about it. When she has no idea where you are, what you're thinking, or who you're becoming, she can't help but become consumed by thoughts of you. The mind refuses to rest, and that is when obsession begins to take root. In a world flooded with constant noise, oversharing, and validation, seeking, silence becomes an enigma, a rare and valuable commodity. Most men today can't resist spilling every emotion and every thought to feel seen. But you must realize silence is far more potent. You see, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop offering up your every move, she's forced to guess. And guesswork, that's where the magic happens. It's in that void, that space you've created, that her mind starts running wild. She'll check your stories, but see nothing. Scroll your posts, still nothing. Look for a sign, anything, and find only silence. And that, my friend, is when the real power of silence takes hold. She'll begin imagining all kinds of scenarios. She'll picture you moving on, seeing someone new, while she replays the best moments you shared over and over in her head. Why? Because you're no longer feeding her anything new. The past, with its fragments of emotion and experiences, becomes a loop she can't escape. And you become a larger than life figure, not because you've changed, but because you've stepped out of the picture and left her with nothing but the echo of your absence. That's the blessing of Stoicism, creating a space where others are left to fill in the gaps with their own fantasies, often more beautiful than the reality. Silence doesn't just allow this, it magnifies it. It turns you into something unattainable, a version of yourself she can never truly touch. And that version, that's the one she'll obsess over long after the silence has stretched on. Be the modern Stoic. Don't be afraid to let silence speak for you. Don't be the old Stoic who overshares just to be seen. In the quiet, you are more powerful than words could ever make you. Number 4, emotional distance creates psychological weight. There's a subtle yet powerful dynamic at play when you choose emotional distance. In the past, you were always there. She could rely on you to share your thoughts, your frustrations, and even your doubts. You were accessible, ready to engage, to talk, to argue, to explain yourself. You were predictable, and predictability, no matter how messy it seemed, gave her a sense of comfort. That comfort, whether she respected it or not, was a pillar for her. She knew where she stood with you. But when you step back, quietly, without drama, everything changes. That space you create between you both doesn't just create distance, it creates weight. And it's psychological, it's invisible, but its effects are as tangible as a storm cloud hanging overhead. You, without saying a word, become heavier. Your absence becomes louder than any conversation ever could. Now, let's be clear. Emotional distance is not the same as being cold. Don't confuse the two. Coldness is sharp, a deliberate action meant to harm or punish. But emotional distance, that's the silent withdrawal of your energy. You stop explaining. You stop reacting. You stop showing up in the ways she expects. There's no more need for clarity. No more need to smooth over every misunderstanding. You've chosen silence, not as a game, but as a statement. Your peace comes first. and that's where the weight starts building. Without you in her emotional orbit, something shifts. You're not there to soothe her, to give her reassurance. You're not reacting to her emotional signals, and in her mind, that absence begins to swell. She might not admit it, or even be fully conscious of it, but the silence presses on her in a way she can't shake. That gap you've left behind doesn't allow for closure, chaos, or even peace. You've given her nothing, and nothing, when paired with time, becomes everything. Here's where Stoicism comes into play. Stoic lessons teach us that detachment, emotional resilience, and the ability to remain grounded are essential to living a fulfilling life. It's not about being unfeeling, but about understanding that our energy and attention are precious. We don't have to respond to every emotional pull. A Stoic life is about learning where to invest our emotional energy and where to protect it. So when you step back, it's not a power play. It's an affirmation of your peace, your sovereignty, your emotional clarity. And the wild part is this: you don't even have to say anything. It's not about the grand gestures, the speeches, or the drama. Your silence speaks louder than any word ever could. The moment you stop orbiting her, she feels the pull. The absence begins to form a presence in her life. It's subtle, yes, but it's powerful. She may act like she doesn't care. She might post like nothing's wrong, go about her day as if all is well, but beneath the surface, the truth is, she can't shake it. She can't ignore it. That absence, that emotional space you've created, becomes an anchor in her mind, and it starts to haunt her. It lingers, not because you intended it to, but because emotional distance creates a vacuum that the mind can't resist filling. You've chosen not to give her closure. You've chosen not to fuel the emotional fire with chaos. You've chosen to let the silence stretch, and the effect it has a psychological weight that she can't escape. It stays with her, like a shadow that doesn't leave. You didn't need to raise your voice, cause a scene, or make a dramatic exit. No, your choice was simple. Pull back. Stop playing by her rules. Stop seeking her approval. And that, my friend, is where the real shift happens. You didn't react to her behavior, her whims, or her ego. You stood firm in your Stoic life. You created space for your own peace. And that, in itself, became your greatest power. So, remember this when you choose emotional distance. It's not about the silence itself. It's about the fact that you're no longer giving her the reassurance her ego craves. You must be willing to stand firm in your own peace, even when the world around you seems to demand your emotional labor. That's the Stoic path, the path that forces you to value your inner peace above everything else. In the end, that silence, it speaks volumes. Number 5. Detachment is dominance. You don't need to raise your voice to assert control. You don't need to argue to get your point across. The true power move, the one that changes the entire game, is detachment. The moment you stop needing her, stop reacting to her, and stop valuing your worth based on her responses, that's when you transcend. The modern Stoic understands this detachment isn't weakness, it's strength. Most men are emotionally enslaved by the desire for connection. They confuse love with attachment, attention with value, and validation with truth. But detachment, that's clarity. That's where your real power begins. Not because you've got control over her, but because you've finally learned to control yourself. You must stop being affected by her silence, her games, or her just checking in messages. She can say or do whatever she pleases, and it won't move you 1 inch. That is terrifying for her. She knows that once a man detaches, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. You don't need to respond with coldness, you respond with calm, with discipline, with the kind of power that can't be shaken. You don't block her, you let her see you rise without saying a word. The blessing of Stoicism lies in this ability to remain steady, unaffected by the outside world, to remain true to your own course. Detachment isn't bitterness, it's discipline. It's choosing to walk away from the things that once held your emotions hostage. It's choosing yourself. And here's the kicker, Most men miss detachment doesn't just shift the power dynamic, it makes you magnetic. She senses it. Your energy changes. You're no longer seeking anything from her. And that absence of need, that's the essence of dominance. She'll try to test it. She'll push, probe, and see if she can still pull a reaction from you. But when she finds that there's nothing left for her to grab onto, no buttons to push, no emotions to manipulate, that's when she feels your power most. Not because you fought harder, but because you walked away, unshaken, and never looked back. The old Stoic knew this truth well. True strength comes not from domination, but from the art of detachment. And you, my friend, must embrace that wisdom. If you find this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, true dominance is not about control, but about detachment. Number 6. The mind rewrites the past. When you embrace silence, you take back control. In a world where noise and chaos often dictate the flow of relationships, silence is a powerful tool. The human mind is constantly rewriting its own history, especially when left with little to work with. You see, when you go silent, when you stop feeding her emotions, explanations, or reactions, her mind begins to fill in the blanks. It does what it was designed to do, reshape the past. The longer you remain silent, the more potent the memory becomes. What once may have been a bitter or ordinary moment gets softened, distorted, even romanticized. The bad becomes blurry, the good gets highlighted, and before she knows it, you're not the villain anymore. You're the one that got away, the one she can't forget. Think about it, people often scramble for closure, desperate to explain themselves, to fix the narrative, but doing so only locks you into the last version of yourself she saw. Every word you speak is another thread she can hold on to, another piece of the puzzle for her to manipulate. You must avoid this. You must choose silence. When you disappear with dignity, without a word, you leave no room for her to attach anger or regret to. There's no final argument to haunt her. There's only the silence, the void, the mystery. And what happens to a mind left with no noise? It creates meaning. It fills the emptiness with stories. In that silence, she'll start to imagine. She'll remember how you made her feel, the look in your eyes, the way your presence alone seemed to offer something others couldn't. Slowly, her mind will paint a picture of you, one that is idealized, not because you manipulated her, but because you disappeared. Your absence becomes a canvas, and her emotions start filling in the details. The more you remain silent, the more her mind will amplify your memory. Over time, that silence will shape the way she views you far more than any words you could have said. The past becomes a story that she can't stop rewriting, and the man she wonders about becomes the one she can't let go of. As Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You must embody Stoic principles, remain calm, unmoved, and let time reveal its truth. Stay silent, and watch as your absence transforms into your greatest strength. The longer you hold your peace, the more powerful your memory becomes. Be the man who is never forgotten, not because you chased her, but because you let her chase you in the silence. Let the world wonder, and let your silence do the talking." Number 7. Stillness signals evolution. Stillness isn't a sign of weakness. It's a warning, an unmistakable message that you're no longer the man you once were. The moment you stop defending yourself, stop explaining, stop trying to be understood, everything shifts. You've stopped playing the emotional game. You've stepped out of the chaos. The world around you, including her, takes note. To her, your silence might feel like distance, but it's so much more than that. It's evolution. You're no longer reacting to her. You've risen above the noise. In that quiet, you're focused, sharpening your edge in silence. You're upgrading, silently improving yourself without seeking recognition or posting every small victory for validation. She doesn't see the sacrifices, the long hours, the grind, but she feels it. And that's what rattles her. She doesn't need to see your workouts or know the late nights you've sacrificed to change. She only feels the shift, and it's unsettling. That feeling of uncertainty makes her spiral, because deep down, women understand one simple truth when a man goes still, but not stuck. He's building something important, something formidable. She expected chaos, drama and emotion. Instead, she's met with calmness, a calm that signals a strength she can no longer tap into. This is the blessing of Stoicism at its finest. You're not waiting. You're not chasing. You're transforming in silence. And when the moment is right, you will return. Not with words or explanations, but with presence alone. She'll wonder. She'll speculate. But it won't matter, because your next level has nothing to do with her. You've outgrown the need to justify your choices. Stillness isn't retreat, it's power in the making. And as an old Stoic would know, true strength is not in the ability to react, but in the ability to remain grounded when the world demands chaos. You've transcended that. When a man can stand still without becoming stagnant, that's when he's truly in control. And when it's time to show up, you'll do it with a quiet confidence that speaks volumes. She may never fully understand it, but the modern Stoic knows there's power in silence, and there's a blessing in letting the world wonder about what you're becoming. Number 8. They test. You don't respond. She will test you. Not because she's coming back, not because she misses your smile or the way you held her when the world got heavy. No. She tests because she wants to know, do I still have him? The silence you gave her, it's starting to echo. So she tosses out a line, a vague story post, a subtle like, a message that barely says anything. Hope you're doing okay. Innocent. Maybe, but make no mistake, this is not a connection. This is an inspection. A soft knock on the door to see if you're still home. Most men answer, fast, desperate, hopeful. They crack open the door and hand her back the control. The cycle starts again, attention, validation, emotional chaos. And just like that, she wins. But not you. You don't respond. You don't take the bait. Why? Because you've learned. This is a Stoic life now. You live with clarity, not confusion, not from ego, not from bitterness, from the truth. You've seen this play before, and you're no longer an actor in her drama. You are the man who does nothing, and that is everything. She wants a flicker. You give her stillness. She wants a reaction. You give her silence. She wants to know if you're still emotionally available, still on the hook, but you've left the hook behind. You're swimming in different waters now. This is Stoicism in motion, unshaken, undisturbed, unbothered. You're no longer the man she could move with a word, a post, a passive, aggressive ping at midnight. You've become psychologically unreadable. That isn't indifference, it's strength. Cold, maybe, but also warm in its own way, because it burns off what's false. She begins to feel it. The space, the void, the absence of your attention, your emotion, your energy. And here's the truth. Most won't admit distance is more powerful than presence, because your silence isn't empty. It's filled with a message you no longer control this. I do. That's the final test. Not a text to answer, not a call to return, but a storm to sit through and you stay still. That's a Stoic lesson for the modern man. Let your silence speak. Let your calm destroy her chaos. Let your detachment be the loudest message you ever send. Don't chase, don't explain, don't flinch. Be the mountain she can no longer move. You're not bitter, you're better. You've passed the test not by reacting, but by rising above it. This is what power looks like. Not loud, not cruel, just silent and free. You've become the man who walks the Stoic life. And in that stillness, you win. Number 9. The return is never the same. Women never forget the one who went silent. When you master the art of silence, you hold the power of transformation in your hands. Modern Stoics understand this principle better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When a woman returns after leaving, she expects to find the same man she left behind, but that man no longer exists. Time and space have forged you into something stronger, sharper, and more powerful. The person you were before, emotionally available and eager to please, is gone. Now, there is only a man who has mastered himself. You are no longer a reactive force in her world. You have become a steady, unshakable presence. You must never forget this silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is the quiet resolve that reveals your true power. The indifference you project now speaks volumes louder than any words of anger or revenge. She will feel it in the way you no longer jump to respond to her, in the way your energy has shifted. It's not that you're cold or hostile. You're simply a man who understands his value. You have set boundaries. You have evolved. And with that evolution, the game has changed. She will sense the shift, but it will be too late for her to reclaim what was. You've moved on in every sense, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. She is returning to a stranger, a version of you that no longer fits into the past you shared. What she once had is no longer available. This is the path of the Stoic to grow, to evolve, to never remain stagnant. The man who once would have dropped everything for her now stands unwavering. That man is gone, replaced by someone who values himself above all else. And that, my friend, is where your true strength lies. You didn't wait. You grew, and now you stand firm in your newfound power. She might try to reconnect, but she won't find the same man she left behind. Instead, she'll be faced with a version of you that is untouchable. Modern Stoics don't regret their evolution. They embrace it. Your silence is your victory, your strength. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise. If you've come this far, you've already begun the journey of transformation. The man you were is gone, replaced by a version of you who has moved on, evolved, and set boundaries that cannot be crossed. The return she's hoping for, it's not happening. Comment below with "I am not who I was, and that's my power." Let's hear your voice. Number 10. She'll never forget your silence. Words fade, memories blur, but silence leaves a scar. Long after the arguments are forgotten, long after she forgets what you said or did, she'll remember one thing clearly. You said nothing. When she expected chaos and got calm, when she thought you'd beg, and instead you vanished. That silence lives in her head, rent-free, not because it was loud, but because it was final. There's no closure in silence, no validation, no comfort, just space. Space she can't fill, space that echoes. And every time she thinks of you, it's not your last words that haunt her. It's the fact that you walked away with your dignity and never turned back. That's what sticks. That's what keeps her checking your page at 2:08 a.m, asking mutuals about you, wondering if she made the biggest mistake of her life. Because silence doesn't just end conversations. It leaves questions, and humans hate unanswered questions. Why didn't he chase me? Did I mean anything? What is he doing now? You've become a ghost with gravity. Not loud, not bitter, just gone. And that kind of presence, even in absence, is unforgettable. She may date other people, laugh with someone else, pretend it doesn't matter, but deep down she knows. She'll never meet another version of you. She'll never unsee the man who walked away on his own terms and never looked back. You didn't need to scream. You didn't need to beg. You didn't need to prove your worth to anyone who couldn't see it. All you did was go silent. You pulled back your energy. You took your power with you. And in that absence, she felt everything. The strength, the control, the man she never truly understood until he was gone. This isn't about bitterness. It's not about games. It's about becoming a man who knows his value so well, he no longer needs to speak it. You didn't disappear to make her miss you. You disappeared to find yourself. And in doing that, you became the one she'll never stop thinking about. Let them wonder. Let them remember. But don't look back. Thanks for watching Stoic Blessing. where stillness becomes power and silence becomes legacy. Stay sharp, stay grounded. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with friends who might benefit, and subscribe for more content just like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any feedback or want to discuss anything about today's topic, drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation. Remember, your opinions matter, and this community is all about learning and growing together. Until next time, take care and stay strong.